Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me this afternoon or whatever time of day it is where you guys are at. I am excited to have these guests on today. We're going to be talking about a book that I know they have poured their heart and soul into. It has come a long ways, and it's amazing the story that they've got in it and the meaning behind a lot of it. But without further ado, let me bring them in and allow them to introduce themselves and share with us a bit about their book.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. So, guys, go ahead. Tell our viewers who you are and how this book plays a huge role in what the message you're trying to get out there.
Okay. I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Mindy.
She's not Jeffrey.
Nope.
This is a book that we have co-authored. It didn't start that way. I started writing the book when I was 16 as an inspiration after reading all the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. I wanted the story to continue, so I just wrote my own and really enjoyed it. And I would come back to the book throughout my adulthood as like a pick-me-up or to add to it. And then it was a number of years ago, Mindy challenged me and said, why don't you go back to something that you were passionate about and finish it? And
well, just to add to that, he actually spoke about his book within the first time we met. So I knew it was really special for him.
Yeah, thank you. So Mindy helped me get that book done. And she became like the developmental editor. We didn't even know what that was, but it was what she was doing.
Yeah. What I enjoy doing too.
Yeah. And then we really took it up a notch in the last year and a half. So we had released that book under the name The Ridiculous Adventures of Serbened. And it did really, really well. Audiobook too. And but we spent the last year and a half or 2 years rewriting the whole book. And Mindy joined me as co-authors so we could do it together. And
I had more authority now.
Yeah, we're doing things a little bit differently now, but it's really, it works really well. And what we did is we fine-tuned a lot of the jokes and the laughter. Yeah. And what we did is we really embedded it with messages that we've learned over our last 25 years in the fitness and wellness and empowerment space to help people love better how they think and feel and act and look and dream in a way that's through comedy, where people can get in the moment and pause and hopefully see things in a different way.
Yes, and I love that because this book, it does a really good job of it. And I just want to point out the glow up this book has had. It is amazing. The cover that you guys have now, when you guys sent me that to make the graphic, I was like, holy cow, this is like on a whole other level of book covers compared to, not that I didn't like the first cover, but this is just like, it's huge. It's more, I feel like it's very realistic for the outer space kind of setting that goes on there. So
much, yeah.
That's very cool to hear. Yeah. And that was a very cool graphic to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's talk about the setting, because I know, actually, before we get to that, let's talk about the character you meet at the start of the book. And then I'm going to bring in the setting video that you guys sent me. So
cool.
That's a good
one. What's really cool is the first chapter in the book takes place in this galactic bar where Serbened, who's this fun-going, just out to really enjoy himself, go with the flow, alien from the planet Placelner, he happens to be at this bar and he's having a rhino kicker cocktail and some Sreefs and grack nuts, and that's the setting of the first scene, even, right?
Almost, because there's a little bit more to it. That while he's visiting the bar, he's on pause because there's an entire army from all over the place that's following him.
Yeah.
So he's just in there to grab a drink.
Yeah, and kind of so and that takes place at this intergalactic bar, and we're doing a launch of our book in an intergalactic bar setting, like the only one in Canada.
There's no windows, so the scenery is the scenery from the book.
Oh, that is so cool. Like that's so you're basically walking into the story by going to this bar.
Right.
You are. You're walking right into the story, and even in that first chapter, there's dancing. So we've brought on a live band that also has like music that's empowering. So that adds a whole other dimension, but it matches what we're going to read because we're going to do a reading, which will be live worldwide, and I guess it's always live. Right? Like,
Well, unless you rewatch it, but
then it's not live, yeah.
But you're
So
watching the live, so it's partial.
Right, so it's going to be streamed, and then in Toronto, people who are coming into the bar, it's like when we first walked in, we were like blown away. Like this is where we need to do a book launch.
Yes, that is awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to pause us and I'm going to bring this video in. It's going to take me just a second as I get it going for just everybody to see real quick. So hang tight.
Hey there, everyone. Mindy and I are coming to you from Joe's Galactic Bar, but the Earth version called Off-World Bar. Yep, this is where we're going to be doing the launch event, book signing, dancing, costume contest, giveaways, all really fun stuff going to be happening.
So the coolest thing about this place is that because it's the Earth Bar of Joe's Galactic Bar, you also get to sample, try, and experience alien food and drinks.
Yeah, you're going to be able to try out the Rhino Kicker, some Sreef, some Brack Nuts, and a whole bunch of other things.
And you get to hear us read our book.
Yeah.
Chapter 1.
Well, yeah, chapter 1, which actually takes place really in the Galactic Bar. So
This is it. Wait till Jeff shows you around.
see you soon.
All right. So that is just amazing as it is. And I'm going to have to ask about the Rhino Kicker. What does it taste like?
The people at the launch will be the first to find out.
Yeah, you're right. It's got a bit of a kick to it.
Yeah.
I would hope so. It's got it in the name. So, like, you guys watching this later, whenever, go try this drink and share your thoughts about it. Share your thoughts about the bar. Another thing is, let's talk about how Servanan, like, what changes after he leaves this bar. Let's go ahead and bring our viewers into the story a little more with that.
I'll begin. Well, cool is that
We have an order to things. So generally, Jeff goes and I fill in if needed.
If needed.
Take it away.
What's cool is Servanan is going on this journey, and he's going on a journey, and because he switches bodies, or switches souls with another character named Jim, who's on Earth, and he's now seeing things in a different way because it's all new for him. So he's on this journey where after he's left that bar and he's transported and now he's in a different body, they're just experiencing things that take them further along, like a growth trajectory. Even though it's not consciously what they're doing, they are doing.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing. So you guys, with going and kind of revamping the story, what was the process like as you helped make it into what it is now?
It's so funny looking at the cover. It just reminds me when we first started running events. So it is the 25th anniversary today of the first event that we ever put on to kind of reshape the fitness world.
Yes.
But one of our first cars, remember we had it decorated with our website and these stickers that like
Red and yellow.
At the time we thought that looks amazing, but when you look back on it, the process we took was very different. So one, the editing process itself, I hate editing, so it was always amazing when he stepped in. But what we did differently this
Because
time.
I really enjoy that.
She enjoys that. Like, it's done. I have to read it. Really? But Mindy had
You're
it.
over that.
I'm over that. Mindy had it. I looked at things differently as Mindy sort of put it in front of me differently. And what we did is after the book was finished, then I read the book to Mindy. Then when she went back in and did her extra rounds of editing, then she read it back to me. And then we both
In character.
and then we both went in to look through it. And then Alan Irving, our narrator, also then got to get the version and give his feedback on certain things to make sure it sounds right. So the editing process, and once we were done, it went to a copy editor, and then we read it one last time. So that was a big change of putting so much time in. And what Mindy reframed to me is, instead of hating the editing process, to look at it from the experience of, well, I get to add another little dimension, make that one line sound better or something. So it made it more fun as that process.
Yeah, I like that you guys said you did it in that person's voice. Did you feel like it made it easier to catch some of the errors and rewording that you needed to do that way?
Yeah, we actually, partway through the narration of the book, we said, let's just change the voice. Because when we read it ourselves, we realized, no, it needs to sound a little bit different. And we went back and forth, and we did get it. But yeah, it really helped to be able to do that and listen to it from a different set of eyes or ears.
It definitely made it more funny.
Yeah.
Like, we laughed a lot at our own jokes.
We did.
That is not a bad thing, because that means that it's funny. Like, it evokes, I feel like if it evokes emotion within the writer, that means you're putting out there what is actually supposed to be felt with the words, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and this book is all about laughter and feeling good too.
Yeah, that's our, our hope is that people will read it. And number one, laughter gets, if you truly let yourself go, you get into the moment. And when you're in the moment, that's the same place that anyone who creates from, that time in the moment. So if someone can enjoy and just tune out of the world and go on an adventure and just laugh and really feel that, then there's the potential of so much emotion or creating and power coming out of that. So that's why, we really embedded it with as much laughter as we could.
Yeah. And Mindy, going back through it, did you find that you guys added more laughter in than it originally had, like more instances for them to laugh?
Oh yeah, like that was the fun part for me, was going through it and seeing how I could embed more, or how I could put something like over here, but like 4 chapters later put something else subtle over here, and then say it again somewhere else. And so it was a lot of fun that way for me. It was so enjoyable to, like, each sentence mattered, every word choice like was thought about.
Oh, and I want to talk about a little bit about success with this. What do y'all share the same opinion about success? I'm going to put that back at those. Totally, probably not long enough. Do y'all have the same opinion about success? Like, what do you plan for the future of this story?
Well, the one thing that is like so cool is, among the inspirations to the book were obviously Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Monty Python, Seinfeld, and Flintstones, Jetsons, all these different things. And we made it into the top 20 list of bestsellers, and we're among John Cleese with his book. So there you've got Monty Python, and Stephen Fry, who's the narrator for the Hitchhikers series, and Seinfeld.
Yes.
Like, wow, all in the same thing. And it reached the #1 best-selling in like 4 key categories, which is really cool. Comedy, science fiction, self-help and psychology, humor. So it hit all the things. And one category, which is really cool, happiness.
Like, that's what we wanted.
That's awesome. I did not know that was like a category, but there are so many categories out there these days. Like, it's a challenge to pick the right ones. And then they still end up showing up in others, which is nice, like super nice,
Yeah.
especially with as many times as it got bestseller for you guys. Like that is amazing. So
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
and I love the comments you guys added on here about like how it is like a hot new release and like that, how excited, like your excitement is showing through with this book. And that's amazing. I love it. With this book, I know with bringing attention more to people and their laughter, what are some of the things you guys would like to see change for self-care for those who grab it? And like, how did writing this book affect your self-care personally?
Good questions. So one, we want someone to be able to go through the story, have those laugh out loud moments, but also have a meaningful message that they're taking from it. Maybe it changes them the way that they look at things, because there's that expression, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So if someone can just get an aha, they laugh at something and and that prompts a change in their behavior or their enjoyment of life.
Yeah, like we embedded these messages within it that for people who are open to receive them, it could be something that is like, like completely like mind shifting, that they take action in a new way, or they, they start feeling different about something just because of something like, that suddenly was embedded in there. And what we want from that is we want the people who experience those things, we want them to share their experience, because then it empowers other people or encourages and inspires them to either read the book or like look at things in that way too, without even having to read the book.
So the way we're doing that is, for like over a decade now, we've been planning a way to bring people together in community. So we have an entire companion community that's launching that is filled with different action steps people can take. Everything from creativity to fitness to health, wellness, empowerment, daily challenges of getting out in nature and stuff. And the community is called Unleash Your Superhero. Is being built right now. But what we've done is, so you asked like some of our process or how it affected us. Well, we spent that last decade connecting with thought leaders and experts in all these main fields, from mindfulness to nutrition to superfoods to how to care for your body, and how to appreciate what self-love is and how to get into that state. And so we've taking all that insight and information and inspiration and putting it into that community.
Well, we're providing the platform for the experts in those fields to actually go out and share their wisdom and their innovations to a community of people who want to transform.
So if someone has an aha because something that they read in the book, there's a place for them to actually go and take action.
Ooh.
Right? And even interact with the characters, because the characters all have their own profiles.
Oh, that is cool. I really like that, because you guys know I'm a big on self-care. That's something that I talk about in all of my shows. And this book, it makes me so happy that it is one of those fantasy books that can really encourage people to take better care of themselves. So, which is why I highly recommend it, guys. If you're viewing this, like snag a copy of this book. You won't regret it. So,
but what was important for us in building a community was the accountability side. Self-care. You still need, at least at the beginning, someone to hold you accountable. So in the community, you're rewarded for taking action. So you can go back every day and track that you're doing this thing, whatever that is, and feel like you've got a support network to help you get there.
Because you're also recognized for your successes, and you've got cheerleaders along the way, and you've got the tools. It's like a whole toolkit for people. So, and they're given missions because it's Unleash Your Superhero. So they earn badges, and it's a whole system. Yeah. It's going to be a cool experience for any of the readers who want to go through it.
Yes, that is amazing, and I love it. It's like positive reinforcement for taking care of yourself. And I've got another fun little graphic for our viewers, just kind of like a blurb that I snagged from y'all's website. Sarbanyan is a space nomad. Jim is a teen earthling. Switching bodies, chaotic adventures ensue. Will they claim new lives or return to their homes? And out of those two characters, let's talk about their similarities. I mean, we know they're both very different. One is human, one is alien. But what are some similarities? Because in a way, they're connected, right?
That they are.
That they are. They're a collection of experiences that we've had in our time here on Earth, and combined. But they're both kind of like out on adventure. They're both looking for something just different to do. They're both characters that don't fit in with like everybody else, and they're just going in the moment and into that flow. But they're also both learning things along the way that transform them, right?
And then at the same time, they've got experiences and memories and things that happen to them in their lives that overlap with each other, but that they don't necessarily know. But it shows that kind of interconnectedness of soul.
And it's so crazy how this happens and they switched, having never met each other ever. Like, let's talk about the shock factor there for them. Waking up and being in a different body. Where did the inspiration to create their reactions and how they kind of like deal with it, where did that come from?
I don't know. It just came. You know, for me, writing is also me enjoying the story that I'm hearing too.
Yeah.
It's more of getting into that present moment phase and allowing yourself to get into that same kind of flow state like an athlete would get into. So you're letting that download come in, and it's just more just kind of being open to what could be the wackiest thing that could happen. And like, yeah, you're waking up and you're in a different, so they switched bodies. So now one is on a spaceship in some new type of body and one's on Earth, this mystical Earth. And now they've got to realize, well, what's going on? And they're getting the reactions from the other people around them who also don't know that they've switched bodies. So it prompts that, number one, they have to look at everything differently because they're seeing it through fresh eyes. So the reader gets to hear that journey, or the listener, if it's the audio book. Right?
Inside joke to the readers.
Yes. So with them coming out, were you able to like immerse yourself and like see the world from their eyes as you wrote?
Yeah, because the other character, Jim, I mean, there's a lot of experiences that I did that I just embedded into that pathway of what he was doing. So yeah, I got to relive some of those really cool moments and experiences that I did with friends through different characters who now got to live through those moments. And then Mindy got to live through it. So overall, it was pretty cool.
Oh, man. And another fun little question I love to ask every author. Did you guys have a specific scene, maybe it's a different scene for you both, that kind of stands out that is your maybe favorite scene or one of your top favorites?
For me, I have two. One is just the opening scene at the beginning of the book. And the other scene is, so we break all kind of boundaries. So the characters come out of the book and there's a discussion with author. So the scene when they all meet up in author's office and are kind of all talking and in dialogue there. So I like that scene.
And I like a scene where a certain character is talking and breaks into like his words into a perfect song that some readers or listeners will get and some won't. And it just makes me happy to have it embedded in there.
Oh, I love it, especially with the music tying into that. Yes. Oh, it makes that so much more fun too. So, what did you guys find was the biggest challenge with revamping it overall? Was it just the time, or were there more kind of like smaller things that were more challenging for you guys?
You know, and it really wasn't challenging because we did the editing process differently, and we did everything else differently. We said, okay, let's really find the best graphic artists that we can find and have them do a cover based on what the market would want. And they designed the trilogy. So we already have book 2, book 3. So we put them on pre-order so people would see what those look like, because he designed it as artwork. And we had shared the cover with a whole bunch of people. Somebody wrote back to us and said, I would buy that as a poster. So we had him turn it into posters also.
We're like, okay.
Okay, let's make some posters with this. But it's telling a story. And the back cover has like some shelves in the background, and each book builds on that shelf, gets filled with more things that are collected on their journeys. But all the different portals looking out are different scenes. So we're going to embed that at the club. We're going to build this thing so it looks like one giant spaceship and looking out different windows, and the stars all above and the smoke, and it'll be so cool.
That is going to be gorgeous. Mindy, did you find it anything specific challenging for you as you were going through it yourself?
In fact, I did. It was up until the point
that I agreed.
that Jeff agreed to.
Yeah, I was pretty adamant. I am not reading it again. There's no way. I'm done. But I made some good changes. I'll hear it when it's done. Can we call the formatter tomorrow? No, not yet.
Bingo.
I feel that though, because like as an author, you go through it so many times. It's like you kind of start to skip over words, which is why it's important to have that second set of eyes.
I was also, since we're on the topic, I was also very resistant to really putting the empowerment messages in, because I wrote it as a teenager.
For several years. Just for several.
For many years. But I recognize, if we do it in the right way, then it becomes some satire that you're building in, and you're building the comedy on a deeper level. And if we do it in a way that it flows with the story, that if you're not open to that, it's just another funny joke. If you are open to it, you'll get something else out of it. So I was resistant until
many years later.
I wasn't.
Yes. Mindy's like, I got him to crack finally, and this is where we're at.
Planted the seed, watered it, watched it grow, babied it, loved it.
Yes. You guys mentioned this is going to be a trilogy. Are you guys planning more after the trilogy, or is it just going to be the 3 books?
In fact,
our plan is 9.
Yes.
Book 2 is being edited right now. The audio book, we just got the last chapter, so we have to listen to it. Writing book 3 already, and the series is 9. Yeah.
Oh man, yes. So we get to follow these guys along. Do they ever actually cross paths and meet face to face?
That is something you'll have to see.
Man, that is like one of the biggest questions I think I have with these two, because I'm so curious, because they're both inhabiting each other's body, and I mean, like, it's just crazy. That is so fun. With the adventures that you guys are pulling in for the rest of the series, how do majority of those come from personal experience?
I think a lot of them do, but really twisted forms of the personal.
Yeah. I mean, anything in space, you definitely got to pull in a little bit of imagination for. But I love that you're bringing that in. And does it continue to bring the message out of how laughter can change your life?
Yeah, I mean, that's so important to us. We're doing all kinds of campaigns so that we can get books in bulk and donate them to kids that can benefit from a pick-me-up, that and adults, that could benefit from that. So we're taking, a percentage of everything that comes in and doing that and putting it in those little library boxes that are on the street and those kind of things. We think that everyone needs that ability to just pause pause long enough to smile, pause long enough to laugh, and then maybe you'll laugh for a few more moments, and then maybe your energy will change, and you won't do what you were going to be doing, and you do something different that feels good, or you get inspired. So our hope is that people really get it as a pick me up, as something that just makes them feel good.
Man, and for those of you guys watching, if you needed a reason to buy these books, that right there is perfect. Like, just do it and give it to somebody that needs joy in their life, because that is one thing. This world is not the best at putting enough joy out there for people. We're always constantly going and going. Like, we need to slow down and pause, like you guys mentioned. Like, that's perfect. So it's amazing. Final question of the day. If you guys could give a piece of advice for authors out there that are either planning to revamp their own books or just starting out, like, what kind of advice would you guys like to share for them?
One piece I would say is enjoy the process of the writing, because you have to like it for yourself. And what I mean by that specifically is, don't do it in such a way that you're just watching what is your word count for the day, and working with a program that it highlights it, and that's what your focus is. Oh, I got 64 more words to do, or because it takes you out of the creative focus of your brain into the analytical. Just enjoy that without the limitations, because that's where people feel like, oh, I didn't reach it, now I've got writer's block, and talk themselves into things. Just do what comes out in it, and when you're in the flow, it's going to come out. So if that day it's not working, there's so many other things to do as an author, like marketing and promotion and connecting with people and doing all kinds of other aspects of the business. So that's my biggest piece. You?
On my end, I think that was good. However, I think on my end, it's that that everyone should incorporate meditation or breath work or mindfulness or something, because in addition to being really helpful to the body and the mind, it also allows for ideas to flow in. And I think that once you have those ideas, that gives you that inspiration to go right into writing, rather than it tying into with what Jeff said, being a chore and having to write and then like just wanting the ideas to come.
Yeah, because just can I add one thing to
Oh,
that?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's all great advice. Like, I'm saying, like, yes.
Because I think what people don't realize is when you're doing that and you're trying to target something, or you're not enjoying the process, you're in a stress state.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's not supposed to be in a stress state for a long period. Mm-hmm. So what happens during stress? One of the things that your body is doing is it's conserving energy, so it only goes to the parts that need that energy, which means you don't have to be thinking. You don't have to be imagining, because if there's a tiger chasing you, you're not going to imagine the spaceship that's going to come and get you. You need to get So what happens in a stress state, you cannot be thinking creatively or logically. The only thing is your body reacting. So if you can get out of that by doing what Mindy said, doing a little breathing before you start, do a little meditation. Meditation could be a minute, it could be an hour. It's what you feel like.
I was more talking like the hour.
But then it's going to calm, so that when you do approach the writing, you're not in a stress state, and the actual flow can begin.
Yes, and I totally agree with that, because literally I have to stop and like do a small like mindful minute before I do any show. I stop and focus on my breathing and just like calm. Like it does. Like, I'm with you guys on that. It makes a huge difference, and I've had to learn that the hard way to get there. But yes. Cool. Well, guys, go ahead and tell our viewers where they can find you.
We're on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. The audio book, the new release, will be out on Audible and probably Spotify and all the other places that you get audiobooks. Our website, ridiculousnovels.com, is a good place to see everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Or Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
all around.
Yes, and I have their links, guys, in the description below. Make sure you grab this book. Like, this is one of the books I highly recommend that I can go. I am planning to go back and read when life slows down on my end a little bit. But even like Audible, like that, they have a great narrator for this story, guys. So grab you a copy, listen to it, post about it, share what made you laugh. So, and just let us know. Don't forget to leave a review as well, because as authors, we need those like a lot. And it can only be just a few words. Like, you really enjoyed the book. That works. We'll take it.
Yeah,
But
we will.
yeah, Zephyr, Mindy, thank you guys so much for being on the show again today and
Thank
like
you.
hanging out with me. This has been such a great conversation. So
Thank you. Awesome.
all right, guys, y'all be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and check back with us again soon. We've got more lives coming up on the Chapter Goddess chat and more authors for you guys to meet. So